on adrenaline, so this is going to be a really spastic, entertaining guest speaker time. I'm Miss Delcom. I teach dance here at Monterey High. I have brought some scrapbooks to pass around because I like visuals. So I'll explain, but most of them are like pictures from a really long time ago and dancing and stuff and growing up. So take a peek, pass that around. This one is like, I thought I was super creative and I was going to make a yearbook for my dance studio. I just made a scrapbook for myself instead. Enjoy that. This one is like my resumes and like headshots and stuff. I did not organize it super well, so just feel free to like filter through. It has my like sheet music I used to use, my
2001
and stuff. So you can kind of like take a peek and pass those around as we go. Once upon a time, I was super like privileged and lucky as a kid. Is that fun?
That's pretty.
Miss Mercury's, this is Miss Delcom. I'm doing a guest speaker in her AMP portfolio class, and she's covering my class right now. Stilver and Izzy, I don't see Stilver. Is Izzy here? No. No, they're both not here. Sorry.
Yeah, I do that.
Okay, so when I was super little, my parents were awesome, and I got to do like all kinds of activities. So I had a ton of energy and was like put in like tennis and swimming and gymnastics, and I really loved gymnastics. I was super obsessed with it. I wanted to go to the Olympics, but I sucked. And so my mom pulled me out. She was like, this dream is not happening. I was really strong, but I wasn't flexible, and I'd like hide behind the mats and pretend I was in the splits when I wasn't. She was like, this isn't gonna work out. So I was really sad and bummed out, and then I was a spoiled brat, and I saw a new picture in the newspaper of dancers, and I was like, I want to be a newspaper. It's like, I want to be a newspaper, so how do I make this happen? And so there were dancers from the studio in Carmel. I grew up in Pacific Grove, and so I started taking dance class in 5th grade. So in 5th grade, I took my first jazz class, and I was like hooked. I loved it. It combined like everything I loved of like artistry and creativity with like athleticism of sports and things that I liked. It was super challenging. There's never like a dull moment. You're always learning something new. You're always learning a new dance. I'm a super perfectionist, so there was always something to work on. So it was like this masochistic, like you can always try to keep working and you're never going to be perfect, so you always have something to do. And the next year, I added on ballet and tap, and I was like, my teacher had us line up at the bar by height, and I was in the ballet class with like all the 3rd graders because I started late compared to everyone else, and so I was at the like end of the bar, shortest, tallest. Miss White wants to see you. Did you already see her? Miss White wants to see you. See you later. And it went shortest to tallest, and so it was like all these little 3rd graders, and then like me at the end of the bar, and I was like, I gotta work hard and get out of this class. Like this is not the jam. I need to get with the advanced kids that are my age. And so I just worked super, super hard, and every year I tried to learn as much as I could, and every year I added something else on. So I added on a new style, or I joined the competition team, and then I joined the ballet company, and I just was like super hungry. I just wanted to learn everything I possibly could. And I'd go to conventions and learn from different guest teachers, and I really fell in love with contemporary dance from a guy named Dee Casper. That was my first contemporary class that I took, and he just did like crazy mutant moves and was really pedestrian gestures that I was like, this is awesome, I want to do this. It was when the Gap commercials came out. I don't know if you have seen any of those, like the old school Gap commercials for like khakis and like swing. Look them up. If I was professional, I would have like a PowerPoint that would then show you the commercials, but I'm not. They were really cool, and I had this childhood dream of like, I'm gonna be in the Gap commercials. I want to be in LA. This is what I want to do. Every summer, I think starting in 7th grade, I had a dance teacher who I still keep in contact with. She took me and like 2 other students to LA for a week as soon as school got out, and so we'd go down to LA. We'd stay with like someone's grandma's, I don't know, something, and we'd go to Edge Performing Arts Center, and we would just like live at the studio and take class all day. And it was like my mecca. I was like, LA is everything. I want to take from all these teachers and learn as much as I can. So I kept growing, kept learning, trying to, again, soak up everything I possibly could. did ballet company, did competition team, was taking classes in LA, like just doing everything. I was really lucky my dance team went to China when I was in high school and did a tour there. So some of the photos in one of those books are like us on the Great Wall in like jazzy hats and stuff. And when it came to go to college, I was like, again, my dream was like commercial dance. I was like, my dream is like, I want to be in a Missy Elliott video, but I'm too white, so that won't happen. It was my dream. I was like, okay, got it. Like, literally had fantasies like, okay, I have to marry a mixed race husband, so at least my child has a chance at Missy Elliott videos. Like, I've got to make it happen some way, somehow. I have no children. Happy Mother's Day. And again, I'm a spaz. Sorry, my brain's all over the place. Wanted to be in Missy Elliott videos, wanted to be in Gap commercials, decided I had to go to college in LA. That's what had to happen. I went down either sophomore year or junior year, because I was an overachiever, and tried to figure out what school I wanted to go to, and look at what dance departments were really good. And I can't remember which I went to first, but I went to UCI, and for me, it felt like a big city. I was like, oh, I can't do this. This just feels like too hectic. I went to Long Beach and auditioned there, and it was okay. I liked it, but they didn't have like as much jazz and hip hop that I really wanted. I like to do everything. And then I went on campus at Loyola Marymount University, and again, spoiled brat. I was like, this place is gorgeous, because it's this like beautiful private school that's like insanely expensive. So it's like, perfect, I'll go to there, the fanciest place I can find that I cannot afford and I'm still paying for. But I loved it. That's where I ended up going. I literally made up my mind, like, I was like, if I don't get in there, I'm not going to college. I'm just gonna live at home. And my parents were like, no, you're not. You're applying somewhere else. Like, you gotta have a backup plan. I was like, I don't want you. But they made me at least apply to UCI, and I got in there. But I was like, I don't want to go there. No offense if anyone's going to UCI. It was not for me. Loyola Marymount was like everything I wanted. It was a pretty small campus. It only had like 5,000 or 6,000 undergrads, so it was like small enough where you kind of would always know a familiar face, but big enough where you're always meeting someone new, which I really liked. The dance department was super diverse. It had a lot of working professionals who I have like been really fortunate and lucky to stay in contact with. Like my jazz teacher took those headshots that are terrible, by the by. I look like I have a curly helmet on. Regrets from the past. But it was an amazing program. I think it was worth every penny, and I was very happy that I went there, and I'm still happy that I went there. But I've told my dancers before, my biggest regret is not applying for scholarships. Like, there is money out there that people want to throw at you. You just got to jump through the hoops and ladders to get it, you know, like write the essay or whatever it is that you need. Because again, I'm still paying for my college, and it's a lot of money. It's super expensive. Went to Loyola Marymount, and then through my college experience realized that as much as I love commercial dance, and I think it's awesome, realized it wasn't for me. I was like, this face is not a TV face. Like, I recognize that. And I was like not willing to do what you had to do to book jobs as a professional dancer. Like, my friends that book professional jobs eat nothing but kale, go to the gym every day, have a different hair extension for every day of the week. Their trunks are closets of like every wardrobe. They have to, like, literally my girlfriend the other day, she booked Jonas Brothers on The Voice and had to dance in a kiddie pool full of glitter, and it like ripped her knees open. And she couldn't say anything because she was booking the job and just had to keep working. So I'm like, I'm okay with not living that life. I'll just live vicariously through you and hear your stories, but I'm good. And also, I had to pay for college. Like, I was paying for it myself. Like, I had some money from my parents, but not enough to pay 40 grand a year. Like, that's what LMU was when I went there. And so I was like, okay, I have to get a job out of college. Like, I cannot just hang out and audition and do that. At first, I was like, I'm going to book a job on a cruise ship because then I'll get to travel and save all this money. And I was like, that's going to work out. Audition for cruise ships. They're like, oh, you're not tall enough. You have to be a showgirl. Or you have to be short enough to be a character. Or just all these things. And I was like, all right, this isn't working. Different path. Went to a few like auditions for the agencies and stuff. That's how you get commercial jobs. And again, realized very quickly, like, this isn't for me. You have to like fight your way to the front and be willing to like throw elbows and have a shank for somebody, not literally, but like you really have to fight for it, and that's just not me. I was like, I'll chill in the back. If you see me and like what I do, cool, and that doesn't work. Like, you have to fight for it. And so again, I realized like commercial world, as much as I love it, and I still have like dreams of being affiliated some way, somehow, like maybe as an assistant choreographer or different affiliations, like being in front of the camera, nope, not interested, not gonna do it. So it was really hard to kind of let go of that childhood dream you have of like what you deem as success, and to try something else. I fell in love with contemporary dance and concert dance and really, really loved that world, and I still love that world. And I was lucky enough, in college we went to this ACDF festival, American College Dance Festival, where you go with your school and you take a bunch of classes from different choreographers and you showcase work. It's kind of like a competition, but not. And I met Mike Esperanza, who owns Bear Dance Company. And I just loved his class, his musicality, everything he did in dance, I was like obsessed with. He made dances to Missy Elliott. I was like, yes. And Disney songs. I was like, oh, yes. And weird contemporary music that he would make on GarageBand. All of the yeses. And so my senior year, I saw that he had auditions for his company, and I was like crazy nervous, and like asked my ballet teacher, like, what do I do? Because we had to do a ballet bar, and I suck at ballet. Like not my strength. I was told in 8th grade, like, you don't have the body for a ballerina. I was like, cool. Great. Greens, crushed. But I kept doing it anyway. And again, I told you guys, spastic. This is happening. It's fine. Asked my ballet teacher, she was like, drink some hot tea, be super warm, blah, blah, blah. I got in the audition, I like hid in the corner, but somehow made it in the company. So I was one of 10 dancers to get in that company, and I danced with them from, I don't even remember, it's been too long, 2007 to like 2016, and then Mike broke my heart and moved to New York. So he lives in New York with the company now, but I was able to dance with that company for a nice long time, and really loved it, and got to like feel my success as a professional dancer, and danced with a couple other companies as well. And with Bear, we toured through California and did a bunch of shows. We didn't travel abroad with Bear, but it was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Have like some of the best memories ever. I didn't bring my Bear scrapbooks because some of them are inappropriate, but we had fun on the road as well as dancing. But it was a really, really great experience. I started teaching dance when I was 15. So when I was still in high school and lived here, I studied at Carmel Academy of Performing Arts. That's what it's called now. Before it was called Carmel Ballet Academy. And I always liked teaching and was like kind of the teacher's assistant in different things. And then my senior year, they were like, well, why don't you take some classes? I was like, nice. So I taught little kids and got paid a really good amount of money. So I quit my job at the Cannery Row candy store and was like, peace out, Rod Riggs. That's my boss. He still owns it. Family friend, nice guy, but not a good boss. I'm talking. Miss Mercury's room, this is Miss Delco. This is Miss Mercury's room, so I'm just here covering her class. Pebble Beach lunchbox. Yep, got it. It's here. Okay. See, hi. I say sweet, I said see. Okay, where was I? Dancing, teaching. I started teaching in high school, got paid a lot of money. They used to pay like I think my starting rate was like $3.25 a head, which sounds weird, but that's how they used to pay. So if I had 5 kids in my class, whatever 325 times 5 is, I can't do math, I count to 8 all day. That's what I get. But if I subbed like another teacher's class that had like 30 kids in it, it's like, yes please, I'll show kids ballet and get paid, let's go. So I always kind of taught, and in college I worked on campus and I worked for the dance department, and I started teaching at a studio. So when I got out of college and like had all this massive debt, I was like, I guess I'll do what I know and keep teaching, you know? Like it wasn't ever like my dream was to be a teacher, my dream was always to be a dancer. And started teaching. I taught at like 7 different studios around LA, and so when I was 22, I was like just driving constantly and like teaching in Brentwood and teaching in Long Beach and teaching in Westchester, and like just wherever I could get a class. And then I like was applying to every possible thing ever, and got an email from one of my professors at LMU that was like LAUSD, LA Unified is looking for middle school dance teachers because they're opening a performing arts high school. I was like, cool, I'll apply to that. No idea what I'm doing, but whatever. I showed up to the interview in like cargo pants and flip-flops and like had no idea what I was interviewing for because I had been applying to so many jobs. Left it being like, I completely bombed that. I have no idea what I did. They're like, have you worked in middle school before? I'm like, nope. Have you worked in inner city? Nope. Do you speak Spanish? Nope. Like, all notes. And then, like, 2 months later, I got a call from a principal being like, you were highly recommended for the job. I was like, really? Okay. Oh, let's see how this goes. So then I knew what I was applying for. So I, like, got my Forever 21 business wear that you get when you're 21 and can't afford anything. And, like, showed up to my interview and got the job. So I started teaching inner city middle school when I was 22 years old after graduating college. Had no idea what I was doing. Learned very quickly as like kids were like tagging my wall as I'm talking to them and like I'm trying to teach tap. It was my class or wood shop. Like that was it. So I did not have kids that wanted to be in dance or wanted to learn dance. Like I had like the total gangster kids that brought guns to school that I was like, want to shuffleball change with me? Cool. Like, and just sort of won them over. I don't know how, but figured it out. Did that for 3 years while I was dancing professionally. So dance professionally was teaching during the day, going to school at night for my graduate degree and my credentials so I could keep teaching. And then 3 years in, the school decided they were doing really poorly, and apparently if you restructure a school, the district sort of leaves you alone. So if you're like, because they were not doing well, all the test scores were going down, everything was horrible, they had a really bad principal. And then they go like, oh, we're restructuring. And the district was like, okay, we'll give you a couple years to figure it out. And so part of their restructuring was getting rid of the electives. So they had like the staff vote on which elective they wanted to keep. And at that time, you got pink slips, like RIFs, like layoff notices. And since I was 22 and didn't have my credential yet, I was like on the bottom of the list. And so when they like say, okay, we're gonna get rid of 100 teachers, I was always the one they were getting rid of. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna fight for my position if someone else has their credentials and deserves it. So I didn't put in any fights, I didn't argue anything, and so they got rid of the dance program. So then I was applying for jobs again, and so I applied to the Performing Arts High School that my middle school was a feeder to. And this school is awesome. I love it. It's like an X-Men school. It's been in a million movies ever. Like Iron Man has been filmed there, and like Hunger Games, and what is it, Divergent has a couple scenes there. Like it's LA Mecca. Like it's in the middle of downtown. It looks like an X-Men school. I got hired there, and so I ran that program for 5 years. I was the department chair of 4 dance teachers. How am I on time? Anybody? Okay. So I ran that program for 5 years and absolutely loved it. It was like a mini college program and got to teach all kinds of things and still do my dancing outside of school and like dance with a couple more different companies and things, got my credential, got those things figured out, and like fell in love with teaching more and more, like realized it's its own creative art in a way, and like I can really be creative and create choreography on students, whereas if I had a company outside, I would have to figure out how to pay my dancers and like how to get them paid and like all the money financial stuff that I am horrible at. So like a school environment, you're not concerned with money. I mean, you are somewhat with the budget, but you can kind of be self-sustaining. Like your ticket sales produce your next show. And so you have a budget, so it's not putting my own money in for costumes and things like that, but building a program that can sustain itself that way. So I just really, really fell in love with teaching. I love connecting with kids and like helping them find goals and having outlets. One of my students got into USC's dance program, which is like my biggest like crowning achievement, because that program is kind of like the West Coast Juilliard. It's super, super hard to get into, and I had a student that I really helped a lot with his audition get in there. Another one of my students became a drag queen, and I was like, heaven, like success as a teacher, and I love him. And so it's like so fun to see what my students have grown and become, and like the legacy going on and through dance. After 5 years there, I had like a really nasty breakup and had my heart broken and had a falling out with my cousin and just all kinds of drama. And I was like, I'm done with LA. I've been here 13 years, like enough, I gotta get out of here. I never studied abroad and always wanted to, so I packed up everything, sold everything. I literally brought all my clothes on costume racks to school and like told my kids like, pick out what you want. I just got rid of everything and I moved to Australia. And I was like, deuces, see you later. I teach surfing during the summer, and I did that since I graduated college too. That was like my first summer job because I like being outside and being a spaz. And so I taught surfing during the summer. And so when I went to Australia, their seasons are flipped. And so I was like, okay, I'm going in there in their summer. I'll do my summer gig. So I started working at a surf school there and like got a job at like a brewery and was like, okay, I'm just gonna relax and have fun in Australia, do the Australian thing. In my head, like, find an Australian husband, it's gonna be great. Fine. Working my butt off there. I, on Christmas Eve, was climbing down rocks they had bioluminescence in the water. And I was like climbing down rocks with friends that all were like Christmas orphans and stuff. So after work, we'd climb down to go down to the rocks and look at the bioluminescence. Climbing rocks, cool. We grew up around here. We climb rocks all the time. Climbing rocks at night, not so cool. I slipped and broke my back. I fell like 20 feet and landed on rocks like on my sacrum and broke my back. And I was like, cool, awesome. Let's see what we do next. So it was like, universe, what are you telling me? What am I supposed to do next? And so I stayed in Australia for as long as I could. I couldn't work at a surf school anymore. I couldn't go in the water. I couldn't dance. Couldn't do yoga. I couldn't hike. I couldn't do any of the things I love to do. So I was like bored out of my mind. I got super depressed and just slept all the time and was like, okay, I'm gonna try to enjoy Australia as much as I can, but this sucks. I worked at like a horrible restaurant and like I remember talking to some table about Mardi Gras because Sydney's Mardi Gras is like their Pride together, like Mardi Gras and Pride combined for Sydney Mardi Gras, but they celebrate on a Saturday. And I was like, that's weird, Mardi Gras is Fat Tuesday, it's supposed to be on Tuesday. It's the Tuesday before Ash Wednesday of Lent. And this table was like, why do you know that? I was like, because I'm educated? I don't know. They're like, why are you working here? I was like, I don't know. I have a master's degree. I don't know why I'm working here. Like, I need to get out of here. And so I realized being in Australia, I loved it. It was fun. I had a good time, but it was like, I miss dance. I miss teaching. I wanted to come back and just didn't know exactly what to do or where to go. I literally spent, well, I didn't spend every dime because I was trying to be smart, but I like spent all my money in Australia to stay there because I wanted to be there for as long as I could. Meanwhile, my old dance teacher, the very first jazz class I took, she runs a dance program at Carmel High. And she was like, hey, there's an opening at Monterey High, you should come back home. I was like, maybe. And then my old dance teacher that I used to teach for before was like, hey, I need people to teach classes in Carmel. We need help with our Nutcracker. I was like, maybe. You know, all my family lives here. My parents live here. My sister lives in Santa Cruz with my niece and my brother-in-law. And so I was like, okay, the universe is pointing me back home. So I came back home. So I've been working at Monterey High for 2 years now. I live with my parents. To save money. So I was like, okay, I gotta save money. I don't want to spend all my rent. And so I had to just kind of swallow the shame and guilt of like being 34 and living with your parents. Luckily, I get along with them almost all the time. They love watching Game of Thrones. It's great. Like, they're super cool and fun. And I got like a house sitting gig last year with another friend's mom. And so I had my own house and was taking care of their dogs and stuff. And just kind of taking one thing at a time. I took ballroom at MPC last year, because I was like, I really miss dancing myself. Like, for me, I don't feel completely fulfilled being a teacher. I love it, but I need more. Like, I'm hungry. I want more. So I like dancing outside and like being involved with companies in different ways because it feeds me artistically and creatively. Otherwise, I just get stuck and I'm like tired of my own stuff and I do the same steps and I'm the same boring teacher. And I'm like, I need inspiration to be inspired. And so for me, that's taking class, that's going to see dance shows, that's being involved. And it's kind of tough around here. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, but like when there's Smewin at Carmel, I go see them. If there's a show in San Jose, I try to go see it. You know, I take ballet at MPC this semester just to like try to stay in shape because after breaking my back and being back here, I'm like 30 pounds heavier than I used to be in LA. And I just have to like own that and be like, all right, different time in life, different shape and body, like you just gotta go with the flow a little bit. So that's where I am now. I teach and I try to take class and see shows and do stuff. Life story in a very spastic nutshell. Questions? That was a lot of information. Anything? Yes, Sally.
Okay.
Thanks for taping, by the by. This will be really funny entertainment for me later.
Of course. We'll see this next period.
Yeah, right. We have too much to do.
You're right. Anyways, so how do you get your ideas for like the class dances that you teach?
How do I get my ideas for dances? All kinds of things. Sometimes like I'm inspired by movies and seeing things. Like my 5th period is doing a piece from the soundtrack is from Great Gatsby, and I saw that Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby, and I was like, this is so cool. And like I love flappers in 20s era. I was like, if I could ever go back in time, I'd want to go be a flapper in the 20s because I feel like they were badass, even though they weren't in the semis, but whatever. And I was like, that'll be a fun costume, so I did that one. This year was kind of like a go through the decades, just for fun. So I have like a 50s dance in the show, and then we're doing like Fosse, all that jazz, and yeah, so different ideas. Sometimes it's music, like if I hear a song, I just like can see dance in my mind and like want to see that creativity fulfilled. Other times it's more of a concept, like I've done pieces, I'm a huge advocate for gay rights and equal rights and love and everything, and I have lots of gay dancer friends, and I feel like a huge ally, so I've made a lot of pieces of like kind of social commentary pieces. I did a Stand By Me, you know that old song, Stand By Me? And so I did like a guy and a girl couple where the girl's abusive, and then a girl and another guy and a girl couple where the guy's abusive, and then like the dream relationship is the 2 guys. And so one, like the guy's standing in front, the other one, the guy's standing behind, and then in the gay relationship, they're standing together. And so I definitely put my own opinions in dances and art, and because I think we all do as artists, you know, so like what I feel passionately about. When I got broken up with, all my dances were so depressing. It was so sad. I felt so bad for my kids. I made a dance just about like sleeping. It was like Dream a Little Dream of Me, and it literally was just like sleeping motifs. It's like, which position do you sleep in, and like all these different things. I made a dance about doing yoga because that was really helping me through a super hard time.
Yeah.
I made a dance about like, it was called Craving Contact. I did it last year too, the Lean On Me. That was me being super heartbroken and just like wanting to have contact with somebody again and having that like intimacy of touch and just craving contact with somebody. So I definitely am very cathartic and like make dances about my life and what I'm going through. My cousin killed himself last year, so I made a piece, I can't remember what it was. The Beatles one that we did sign language in? What was that?
I don't think it was our period.
No, it was period 2. Angel Vasquez was in it. What was that song called? I can't remember right now. Let It Be.
Yeah.
So Let It Be was just me kind of processing my cousin's death. So anything, just like art. I mean, you can make dances out of anything. So sometimes it's super personal, and I don't always tell my students because that's a lot to take on. Sometimes it's super frivolous. Like our 50s dance is like just fun. It's really stupid and silly and fun and poodle skirts and doesn't have any deeper meaning to it. It's just like, let's make a silly dance and wear cute costumes. Like for me, dance can have all different kinds of layers, and sometimes I like to be super deep and serious, and other times I like it to be fun and entertaining. So in my dance like appetite, I feel like I'm that same way. I'm super hungry for all kinds of dance and really like the serious stuff that makes you think. And then I like the commercial garbage that's like, here, buy this toilet paper on Target commercials, you know? Like I like all of it. I think it's great. There's really not a whole lot of dance that I don't care for. I really like a lot of it. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Sorry, again, spaz mode. What else? Questions you have? Silver.
What is Taking Me to Church?
Take Me to Church, a religion, struggling with religion. So I'm doing Take Me to Church by Hosier, and we have these choir robes, and when I heard that song, I just imagined like this choir of dancers, and then this kind of like abandonment of just all the questions you have about religion and spirituality, and like the struggles you have. Like when my cousin died, it was like, why? You know, like you question God and you question faith, and you have those struggles with religion. So the piece has like a choir in the back that's like doing all the right things, and then it has these solos and these duos that come forward and like they rip their robes off and are dancing more like freely and without abandon. And to me, that's like the struggle you have with faith and spirituality, and when you question it and when you're not sure what it is. I was raised Unitarian Universalist, which is like super hippie granola church, and I love it. I went with my mom yesterday for Mother's Day, and their sermon was on creativity and spirituality, starring Banksy. Like they had all this Banksy art in the sermon at church. I was like, I love this place. Like I haven't been in like years. I forgot about it, honestly. And my mom was like, let's go to church for Mother's Day. Okay. But it was super awesome and fulfilling, and I was like, yeah, creativity is really linked with spirituality for me, and like finding your faith or finding a greater purpose often for me is found in nature and in art and creativity. And so It was a really cool sermon to have and kind of got me more pumped for the show, which is why I did not sleep well last night because my brain was like, there's too much to do. It's a problem. I'm working on it. Yeah, so that's what that piece is about.
You said that you did work with a dance company.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering what kind of work you did.
Contemporary. So most of the companies I dance with were contemporary modern. My resume's going around somewhere, so you can see the list. I danced with Bear Dance Company was the one I danced with the most. That was like my second family that I love and I still keep in touch with. I danced with Los Angeles Contemporary Dance Company. I danced with NX Dance Project, K-Dub Dance, Palindrome, Performance Group. Just a bunch of side projects. I had to only pick dance companies that rehearsed like nights and weekends because I had a job. So there's a lot of dance companies I couldn't audition for because they rehearsed during the day. So I had to like pick and choose what I was involved with, but I was a spaz and a spaz and I always want to do as much as I can. So I'd finish the school day, go to my classes at night, and then I'd drive down to Orange County and be in dance class till 1 a.m. and then drive back to LA and wake up and do it again. Like, I don't have the energy for that anymore, which is why I'm like, NPC, it's 7 at 7, sweet. I get to go home and go to sleep with my parents, bye. But that's what I used to do. Questions? Other things? Yes.
Can you give us some advice for those who don't really have any experience in the dance, community, but like are kind of interested? Because I myself kind of interested. I might take some of these classes.
Yeah, just take a class.
I have a cousin. He's a salsa teacher, and he also does like a lot of like open nights.
Yeah.
Just come over and sit down.
Yeah.
And I really would love to do that.
Do it. I mean, biggest advice is just do it. Get out of your own way and do it. Like, I'm the biggest advocate for dance. I think it's the best thing in the world. I think it makes you the best version of yourself. I think there's so much science and data about how it's anti-aging. It helps with Alzheimer's. Like, it helps with Parkinson's. It's a workout. Like, I will sing its praises till the day I die. I think it's the best thing ever, which is why I teach it. But yeah, just go take the class. There's so many. I'm working on right now for our dance program to try to put ads of like all the different studios that are around that you can take class in. NPC is a great resource though. It's like the cheapest in the area because studios are expensive. The classes are like $20 a class, and that's like, who has that? Nobody. Well, some people, but whatever. NPC. Going to even like gyms sometimes have classes and things like the Sports Center or In Shape. They've got like start with something simple like go and drop in a Zumba class, and just see what it feels like. Take the ballroom class at NPC. The teacher is great. He goes really slow and like it's really funny to take the class because there's like college age students and then there's like 80-year-olds. So it's really a wide variety and everyone switches partners. So it's a cool experience to just meet different people and train and learn, and it's really affordable. So that would be my recommendation if you're in the area. If you're going somewhere for college, if you're leaving, which I hope you all do because I think it's important to move away from where you're from, find a studio, find class. There's places everywhere. You can minor in classes in college, and just take a couple classes and not really double major and like dive into it, but just start. Just do it. Nike. I don't support them. They have child labor, but they've got a good slogan. Let's do it. What else? Questions? Thanks.
And so I saw how you did work for American Apparel. I was wondering
I did.
What year and what you did.
Okay, so that was with Los Angeles Contemporary Dance Company. They had like a partnership with American Apparel, and so we filmed a bunch of like web commercials for them. I did not get paid for it though, which sucks, but I got to put it on my resume. That's how a lot of jobs work. They're like, free experience. And again, pay me. But so we did, it was like the 70th anniversary for Nylon. I have it on my YouTube channel. I have my little YouTube. I'm like, here's the few things I did. What is my YouTube channel? Oh, it's DUnit27 because I was obsessed with 50 Cent. Don't worry about it. I went to his concert when I was 16 and locked my keys out of my car and was like stuck in the parking lot with my other two like super white PG friends. I was like, oh. This isn't safe. That's my YouTube. I have a bunch of choreography on there. Have lots of family vacations. You can really get personal in my life on there. And the commercials on there. I have it under my favorites and stuff. It was pretty cool. They shot it from above, and we did like all this pinwheel stuff. And we did get to keep our clothes though. So I have my like American Apparel, and I'm like, that's my freebie from the one commercial I did in my life. I'm like, I can claim it even though I didn't get paid. Yeah, so they did a bunch of webisode commercials for them, and I think they only aired on the web. I don't think they ever were on TV.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that. Other questions? Other things? So,
What's an aspirational still?
I really would love to get like, okay, Dreamland, somehow I would be back in LA, and I love assisting choreographers, so be somehow involved in the industry, like behind the scenes, so like fulfill that fantasy of like Gap commercials and stuff, but do it in the behind the scenes way. Or I'm super interested in like getting involved in a dancers union and like making sure like garbage like my friend had to deal with doesn't go down on shoots, that like people don't have to be on their knees in glitter for kiddie pool for square division because they're divas, you know, like how to like fight for dancers' rights a bit more. I'm really passionate and interested in. I also am really interested in movement therapy. My younger sister went to rehab when she was 14 and had a movement therapy teacher, and it like helped dancers. It was like blending psychology and dance together to like help people in need that I'm still really interested in. So I'm like, maybe someday I'll go back to school and do that. I have all kinds of ideas. We'll see what happens. I really like lighting design and tech theater. I like stage managing. I stage manage for companies now too, so my friends' companies that I'm like, okay, part of me has given up on like dancing professionally. I'm like, maybe I'm too old, maybe I'm too fat, too whatever. That I'm like, I'll be involved in some other way. So like Entity Contemporary Dance, I stage managed for them. LACDC, I've danced for, but stage managed for them. West Side Dance Project, I stage managed for them. So I'll be the one on the headset. You guys know stage management, right? Yeah. So I'll be on the one calling the lights and the cues and everything, and it makes me still feel a part of the process in the show, even if I'm not the one on stage. So I really like doing that too. So
Oh, we
there's
have
all
4
kinds of
minutes.
things I like doing everything. I'm sad. I do too much.
We have 3 minutes.
Last thing. Oh, do I need to go back to let them in the locker room? Does Ms. Murphy know how to do that?
No.
Probably not. I should go. Any last things? Find me on YouTube. Ask me questions if you need to. Sorry, Miss Baz. Hope you have an awesome day. Yay!